Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 266. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Kresh. Kresh, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing good. You?
Where's the
How
hat?
have you been?
What's going
Where's
on
the
here?
hat?
What's going on here?
I decided this week to let you be the one with the hat.
Look, I got myself a little golf hat.
Oh.
2 seconds, here we go.
Oh, we were gonna wear golf hats together. My bad, Fix.
See, look, this is
I'll
why
be honest.
I just want to let everyone know. This is why I don't
Yeah.
wear these hats. Doesn't look right.
No, because you're so used. I'm so used to seeing you with the other hat.
Snapback, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Change color hat now. There you go. That's how many hats I got on the go out here. That's how many hats I got. We've been up to anything?
No.
No.
Busy with house stuff. That's about it. You?
Yeah. No. Just I'm in this weird hangover period, man. Next gen is so close but so far away, and there's just nothing out that I want to play.
Yeah.
I've jumped into a few things we were talking about in what's in our box, and I'm just sort of sitting around, just like, I just want Cyberpunk. I just want Assassin's Creed. I just want something new, you know?
Yeah. I completely forgot Assassin's Creed drops the date of the console.
Do you know what I forgot to mention?
What?
Watch Dogs. I keep forgetting about Watch Dogs coming out.
When
It's
does that
just
drop again? That drops before
29th. I think we got the what?
Wow,
I think
really
it's.
close.
I think the Watch Dogs 29th. Yeah, next week. I'm pretty. Wait, I can
Yeah.
check. 1 second. Let me have a look. Let me look at my calendar. My calendar will tell me all this information. Watch Dogs is the 30th. Assassin's
Okay.
Creed is the 10th, and
Okay.
Cyberpunk is the
18th, I think.
17th.
17th.
I think. No, ain't it a weird day? Do it drop?
What?
I don't know. I can't remember. I can't exactly remember what.
I'll
What is what. But I'm in this weird hangover period. For those who don't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast. You can get us everywhere on all podcast services. If you want the show early, head over to patreon.com/mcfixer. We can get other goodies, also known as our brand new show. Chris, did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
The Fixer and Haley show. Let me tell you, bud, might be the best or worst show you'll ever see on YouTube/Patreon. Honestly, it's terrible.
The best can always be the worst, and the worst can always be the best.
It's
not like
it is the dumbest thing I think. Literally, it was so unplanned. I woke up, was like, I want to go driving range. Hey was like, cool. And then as she was looking at the door, I was like, I'm gonna vlog it. And I vlogged it. I vlogged like the whole thing, but not in like a normal, like professional way of vlogging it. In just me and Haley just being our normal dumb selves the whole entire time. And it's not done. It's not edited professionally or nothing. It's literally like,
nothing.
if you are the most hardcore of hardcore fan over on Patreon and you want to see us just be dumb, there you go. There you go. Some exclusive content there for you. But yeah, don't forget you can find us on all podcast services, Spotify, Apple, Google, and all of those. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/myxboxandme. We have just passed 1,000 subscribers, like we said before. Currently sitting at 1,010. So if you are someone who isn't subscribed, please do consider going over there and hitting the sub button. We're just trying to grow now. We're in this weird place where for the goal for the year, we've already beat that by a mile. Yeah. So now I'm like, oh, okay, we just got to set our new goals for next year and have a few meetings and stuff. But yeah, thank you all so much for the support. I appreciate all the YouTube commenters and stuff like that for being kind in the comments. So keep being amazing. Patreon producer this month is, of course, Erengard. Erengard, thank you so much for keeping the show on the ropes. I appreciate it. Keeping us going, keeping us honest. And thank you so much for all of your amazing support. Topic of the show this week, Kresh. We got a big one with a couple of quotes from the big man himself, Phil Spencer. Xbox boss Phil Spencer on Series X launch, Halo Infinite and Bethesda. We won't be talking about the Halo Infinite stuff just because it wasn't anything really new there that I felt needed to be added on by us. But there was some tidbits taken from this Kotaku interview, which if you want to read the whole thing, head over to Kotaku's website. They did a great job with this. But the tidbit I took from this is this part, which is, at launch, Spencer expects the X to be the hot seller, driven by the kinds of early adopters who snatches new things. Though he also noted that the demand for the new Xboxes and the other new November consoles, the PS5, will cause everything to fly off shelves in early goings. Quote, this is from Phil Spencer. I think we'll sell every unit of both of them that we can deliver, he said, referring to the first holiday season. Microsoft isn't releasing estimates of how many units they will ship or either device this year. But he then explained, did it expect them to go fast? Quote, I think demand is going to outstrip supply for pre-orders for us and PlayStation. I think the manufacturing supply chain is going to dictate market share more than anything else. And then I think over the generation, our expectations would be the price really matters. And would you see the Series X selling more? Spencer told me. And that's for that bit. It's kind of what we've been saying, if we're being honest, Kresh.
Yeah.
It's and there's something that, again, it come up on Unlocked that I hadn't thought about, but it was very much a case of just being there in terms of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S could be what wins you the market this year. It really could.
Yeah. Maybe by the end of generation, that'll be the discussion, but for majority of the generation, right, is who's going to be available, especially for this first half, is who is available when they want a console. Is Xbox available? Is Sony not available? And I think Phil said here that Series S's are gonna outsell the X's, and I actually really agree with that, because I think people who do want PS5s, but if a PS5 isn't available and they're like, what can I get, they'll go to an S, where they're like, I don't really care about Xbox that much, but I do want this next gen experience, so I can invest in that because it's not that costly. So yeah, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with the statement he made.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It just wasn't something that I necessarily thought about until you think about it. Which is just a case of it's the same with I remember when I bought a Switch. I bought my Switch because it was there. Not because I necessarily wanted a Switch or was desperate for a Switch, but they created that must have this machine when it's on sale and you can afford it, that I was like, I'll buy that Switch. And the same thing happened in COVID with Haley. When she saw one in stock, she's like, gotta have it. And it's like, hold up a minute. Why do we need two Switches?
How many people did you see buying Switches and they're like, yeah, I want to sell my Switches now. I don't really need this. I'm not really using this. Kind of a waste of a purchase for me.
That's irrelevant for Microsoft and Sony in this case. So they just don't care how the systems get sold as long as they get sold, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But I think it's an interesting time, obviously, with COVID, about people having to stay indoors, because it just isn't as much to do out there in the world right now, with businesses shutting and things like that. Like, video games are going to see a continue up spike in sales, which is just so strange, just so strange to really talk about, think about. It's weird to see our medium be the medium that drives the world forward. We already knew we were as big as any medium out there, right? Games, bigger than movies, bigger than sport in some ways, some sports anyway. But it's just crazy to see, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a case of, what are you doing this weekend playing Xbox? And it not be a weird thing the way it would have been once upon a time, especially with COVID around. Just, it's nuts to me.
Absolutely.
I'm interested to really see who has them units on the shelves this Christmas, man. Who does?
Yeah, it'll also be interesting, where they dictate their units to go, because I'm sure that if Microsoft really wanted the European market and they didn't really care about the Asian market, they could cut down units in the Asian market and flood the European market to try and win that over. So I think that'll be an interesting to see as well, the availability in each region and what each company is going to try and achieve in them. Are they going to try and go we want to be successful everywhere, we're going to put even units everywhere? Are they going to be we're focusing on North America and Europe, or North America and Asia, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's that weird, we're just in a weird old time, really. I feel like now is the perfect time to get a foothold in any market, like you're saying, where it's as long as you can have the lion's share of systems in any market, you could possibly conquer it.
Yeah, And even if Microsoft, like, let's say Microsoft wants to go into Japan and Microsoft can't conquer Japan,
Yeah,
as long as they put in a competitive number of units, there's a possibility that they can start their foothold in, like, being successful in the market over there.
yeah.
If Sony decides, like, "Hey, we're gonna scatter our units everywhere, we wanna be even everywhere," and Microsoft can supply a competitive number to that.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see, to be honest with you. But I love this next gen feeling. Finally, it's
Yeah.
here. Finally. The next one was all about Bethesda, and obviously Xbox have bought Bethesda. We know this. And a few quotes got thrown around in this one, which I found quite interesting. Spoke about it on Twitter, but I feel like it's a great place to talk about it here as well. As so, and it comes from this. And then I think over the generation, our expectations. Oh no, sorry, that's the next part. The next question that was pushed from Kotaku that said this, which was, is it possible to recoup 7.5 billion investment if you don't sell Elder Scrolls on PlayStation? Kotaku asked. Phil Spencer quickly responded with yes. Then he paused and said this, quote, I don't want to be flippant about that, he added. This deal was not done to take games away from another player base like that. Nowhere in the documentation that we put together was how do we keep other players from playing these games? We want more players to be able to play games, not fewer players to be able to play games. But I'll also say in the model, I'm just answering directly the question that you had. When I think about where people are going to be playing games, and the number of devices that we had, and we have xCloud, and we have PC, and we have Game Pass, and we have our console base. I don't have to go and ship those games on other devices, other platforms, and other than the platforms that we support, in order to make that kind of deal work for us, whatever that means. Kresh, does this mean that obviously Bethesda's games are not coming to, because this is where the conversation now comes, right? It's everyone,
Yeah.
you're either in one camp or the other right now on Twitter, which was,
Yeah.
so it's not coming to
I
PlayStation. It's not coming. No,
yeah.
it's not happening. There's no way it's happening. No, 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 no. Or there's the other conversation of, well, no, this actually says that it would come more. So where do
Yeah.
you come down on it?
Like, I think I'm still in the same spot I was at before, where it's like I see them, like, I would assume that they're still gonna come to PS5, but I wouldn't be, like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. They don't. Microsoft doesn't need to do that. Microsoft can do whatever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I saw a bunch of people taking this quote and saying, like, "Oh, it's definitively being exclusive." That's what Phil said, except they cut up the part where he says, "I'm just answering directly the question you had." His response is very much so, "If we wanted to, we can make it exclusive and we can recoup our costs." That's what the quote is around, and then he adds some more to it. I think, like, if you're gonna take that into perspective, like, we can recoup it, you also have to take into perspective the fact that he says, where is it? This deal was not done to take games away from another player base like that, which you could take, oh, that means they are adding it. But then you go, I think what this statement tells me is that what you had said before, which is we'll see some games exclusive, we'll see a majority of them end up exclusive,
Yep.
a few multi-platform.
Yep.
I think that'll be true. And I think what this says is once xCloud becomes relevant enough that they will go fully exclusive. And if you want to see the game on a Sony platform, Sony has to say yes to Game Pass or xCloud. If neither of those are on the platform, then you're not getting the game on that platform at a certain point. I don't know when that'll be. I don't know when Microsoft decides to do that, but that's the way I read into this.
I'm 100% right. I think I generally believe that I'm right, which is what I've said from the start when this deal was made, which we've spoken about, which is I think you're going to see games like Doom and Wolfenstein and Dishonored and Evil Within, those type of level of games. And I know Doom sells relatively well, but not as well as Elder Scrolls, um, so or even Starfield. I think the games I just mentioned, other than the two big ones, will be Xbox exclusive. Xbox ecosystem exclusive. And when I
Yeah.
say that now, I'm talking obviously xCloud and I'm talking Game Pass, which is obviously on PC. But I'm good. That's going to be my new word, I think, which is Xbox ecosystem. And people will understand what I mean by that at that point. That's where I think that's what's going to happen, and you're going to see. I do think you'll see Elder Scrolls on on PlayStation. I generally do, because I just don't see the business side of it making sense. Otherwise, I understand the statement is you don't have to. I agree. Eventually, that game would make, but that company that they bought would make back the investment. They will 100% do that with or without Sony. But I still think that you would want to do it as quick as possible. As anybody who runs a business, the first thing you want to do is you want to make a profit off of what you're doing.
Yeah.
How do you do that? By making as much money as you can, as quick as you can. And yeah, that's just where I truly believe this will go. I just don't see all the games being exclusive, but I generally feel like we're all right in this. Both sides of this is like, because I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm surprised. I'm surprised by the statement, because I felt like they would have played a little bit more fast and loose with it for a little bit longer. But then the other conversation comes up about all this, which is if you want to play your games on Xbox, you can pay £15 a month, or you can buy the new Elder Scrolls at £60. Over on PlayStation, you can pay $70. Done.
Like if that's
but I'm saying, if that's the way it goes, it's even more reason for people to be like, the value's just not there in PlayStation. Like for every Bethesda game, it's not like Bethesda just put out one game like a year, or they're not a GTA, you know, like they have a multiple amount of games that come out of that studio regularly.
Yeah.
So I just think you're gonna go, well, I'm not paying 70. Over time, you'll work it out and be like, that's like $100. That's like $200 extra. That's a console. At that point, that's an Xbox Series X. Sorry, Series S. Like, would you rather have that, or what? Do you know what I mean?
If I buy 6 games, I would have had enough to buy a 7th game from Bethesda. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like the Xbox are in the best position possible with this. I feel like it's an interesting quote, but we won't know until we finally things start to drop.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like internally they're not 100% set in stone with what they're gonna do.
I agree.
I'm sure they're still discussing it, and they're like, okay, what can we do here? What numbers are we aiming to hit? Not what do we need to hit? What are we aiming to hit?
Yeah.
What consoles? And messing around with, maybe we make Fallout exclusive and Elder Scrolls is multi-platform, etc., etc. I'm sure plenty of discussions are happening internally.
Yeah, definitely. But I can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear what's going down. Let's jump into what's been in our box, Kresh. What have you been playing this week?
I played a little bit of Rainbow Six Fix.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I played with Mackie and Throw.
Oh wow. They're still alive? Yeah. Shout out.
They're still alive. That's really the only reason I played it. Otherwise, I would have stood hard on my. I'm not playing this until they release a Splinter Cell game.
Yeah.
Still Rainbow. You know, it's nothing.
I played it not too long ago and really enjoyed it. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. But again, it's that play casuals, relax, play the game.
All we did was play casuals.
I couldn't imagine going back to sweaty ass ranks. But
no. Even if I were to do sweaty ass ranked at this point, I wouldn't really be sweating. I'd just be messing around like it was a casual. I wouldn't even be taking it serious, which isn't fair to everybody else trying to play it. Exactly. It wouldn't be fair to everybody else.
No. Interesting. I've played a little game called Remothered Broken
Porcelain.
Kresh, this game doesn't even deserve to exist. It's awful.
Ooh, really?
It's
that bad?
Awful. I played about an hour of it, and it's a sequel to another game. It does a really poor job of being when you put out a game and it's a sequel, usually you will make it very. They did this thing where they did like a wrap up of the story, and it was just like, okay, cool, whatever. Honestly, I don't waste your money on this game. I'm sorry to tell you. If you're looking for a horror game, there are better survival horror games out there. The game is broken. Like, certain elements of this game is broken. It's some of the most jankiest, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not even gameplay, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Janky, just mechanics, I guess. Some of the stuff doesn't make sense. everything that I dislike in like a survival horror game, this is it. It's not that pretty, in my opinion. The environments are not that interesting. It's very, very, very Resident Evil 7 inspired in its opening, and it's very Resident Evil inspired in general, I feel like, but it doesn't have any of the heart of what Resident Evil has. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Voice acting poor in some elements of it. Yeah, just yeah.
That's the game you were playing on stream, right? You played
Yes.
on stream? Yeah, I saw you playing for a little bit. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this doesn't
No.
look amazing. Especially because like I feel like recently there's been an influx over the years of like good horror games.
Yeah.
So it looked very apparent that what this was like probably not the best one.
Yes, it's. I personally, like I say, play about an hour bit. I'd save your money. Don't pick up this game if I was you. Yeah, that I played some Avengers. I played some Call of Duty. I played some FIFA. Like I say, just this weird hangover.
Wait,
What?
Crash. You never talked about it last week.
Ah, you're correct. I did play some more Crash as
Yes.
well. Well done. Thank you. Crash, thank you for helping Crash. Hey.
No problem.
Yeah, I played Crash 4, and oh my god. I am absolutely gobsmacked in how beautiful that game is. Beautiful.
Like visually good looking?
Visually amazing. Like
Okay.
and it does this great thing in its first world where it's very, very, very throwback to Crash 1. So you can see it like this is so like Crash 1, this is so like, but it got me in the mood for the world. It got me in the mood for Crash. And playing it just feels so much better. In my opinion, I've played 1, 2, 3. I've played some of the other ones that weren't as good. This so far, I'm in the second or third world now, the hub world, and this is by far my favorite Crash game ever. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. The boss fights
Yeah,
are interesting. It works. You know, like when you played Crash and you always felt like something was off. Always.
Yes.
Oh, this doesn't feel like that, in
Okay.
my opinion. It doesn't feel like
Yeah,
some of its bonus levels are really fun. They got this one where you put in like VHS cassettes, and it's where you're getting tested on. The bandicoots are being tested on, and you have to get every single crate to go through the level. And I can't imagine I'm going to do many of them because it was bloody hard. But I did the first one, and that level of like accomplishment that I had
Yeah.
was like, oh my god, I did it. This game makes you use your brain with the new mask mechanic, with the teleportation and things like that. It's like, it's really fun. If for a platformer, and I don't dislike platformers the way you dislike platformers. I know you hate them. I'm more like, if you're a good platformer, I'll play you. This is a good platformer, and I will finish this game. Look, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that this is like the best Crash game.
Yeah.
So it's not even like just you saying it. It is a lot of people saying like this is the best Crash game. This is the best Crash game that we've gotten in a while.
Yep.
All this stuff, and it's actually really dope to hear a company go back to a franchise. And granted, they didn't make the originals, but this is sort of a revisiting of a franchise, and that doesn't always end super well. A lot of times, it's sort of like, hey, it's a cash grab. We're going back to this because it was really popular, and it ends up being either like a reskin of an old game, or it just doesn't really work. It doesn't have the heart and soul of the original.
It has
so this
both
is
of that.
actually really good.
It has the heart and soul, and it stays true to the original roots of what the game is, in my opinion. But yeah, loving it. Can't wait to finish it and actually be able to talk, like, give a full overview. So, looking forward to that. Kresh, should we jump into Fix This Sack real quick? I see that I've been threatened on Twitter. So,
yeah.
I guess I'll read this one out. Sarah Squid says, y'all better not skip my question last week. You did me dirty fix. Interesting. I wasn't the one that went to Discord last week to get the questions. Kresh did.
And then I brought up the fact that we missed her question. You said we'll get to it next week.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's why she blamed you, because I literally brought up the fact about the question.
Sarah, I don't appreciate being threatened, so I'm going to let you into a little secret. Not answering your question this week.
Well,
there you go.
It was nice knowing you, Fix. We're going to need a new co-host for next week.
She ain't coming for me. We'll be fine. This next one comes from Potato Chief, though, and he says, do you think making Bethesda games exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, Xbox, PC, xCloud, is better in the long term for Xbox. Yes, they lose sales on PlayStation, but is this more of a long term?
Hmm. I don't. I think if they make it exclusive, like if that's the decision they go and they're like, we're just straight up making them exclusive. I do think it is the long term play of getting people into that ecosystem and used to it. I think that'd be the only way they would do it is if they want people in the ecosystem in the long term. I don't think there's much benefit outside of that in doing it, right?
And I'm 100%. Everything they're doing is long term, and not even
Yeah,
if they don't make it exclusive, it's still a long term play. Because you got to think about it. If they don't make it exclusive, it's a long term play to make more money, and if they do make it
yeah,
exclusive, it's because they're trying to bring people into their ecosystem. So,
yeah.
like we keep saying, it's a win-win situation for Xbox
Microsoft.
when
Yeah,
Microsoft when it comes to Bethesda. It really is. Bethesda are going to be fine. They're going to be making the games they want to make now with the funding they have and all the tools at their disposal. And Xbox are going to make a shed ton of money.
yeah.
That's it. Simple.
No matter what way they do it. Yeah. Like I think you also have to remember that like even like these games make a lot of money even through uh merchandising.
Yeah.
So it's like even aside from games, they're still going to be making a ridiculous amount of money off the
I could
merchandising
see
of
a
these
Fallout
franchises.
film. I could see a Fallout TV show like they did with The Witcher. I could see plenty to come now. Plenty.
Yeah.
Where this isn't just a play for games, in my opinion. You're 100% right. Merchandise, plushies, toys.
Yeah.
We won't have a situation with the bag like we did with Fallout 76 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it's a bigger play than just video games. But yeah, I generally think I don't. They're both long term plays in my opinion. So neither one is better than the other. I don't think you're going to convert the hardcore of the hardcore PlayStation fan into being an Xbox gamer.
Yeah.
But what I do think you'll do if you make it exclusive is that Bethesda core audience that love Bethesda games, their majority of them play on PC.
Yeah.
But the ones that don't will then play it on Xbox. They will.
I also like I think xCloud is like super being overlooked in this situation. Like if xCloud gets big enough and they make it exclusive and somebody's like, "Well, I can't play it. I don't have a good PC or I don't have whatever." They're just like, you have a phone? You have a
Mm,
PC that can connect to the internet?
okay,
You have a way
Kresh,
to play it.
I'm going to tell you something. So,
Yeah.
remote plays out now, and we're going to talk about that later in the news, right? But I played with it this week. So I played, well,
Yeah.
yesterday night. It only came out yesterday. I played with it yesterday night. And I have now come to terms with, as much as I was excited for xCloud, playing games on my phone is not fun.
Mm.
I played FIFA on it. The remote play works fine.
It's just
Looking
you don't
at
like
that
the small screen.
tiny screen, trying to play a console quality game, for me,
Not enjoyable.
not enjoyable at all.
Okay.
At all. Maybe if I
That's
was
fair.
playing a PGA Tour or a Gwen or
So
a something slower, it would be perfect. But I don't think I can say anymore. Like, if you don't own an Xbox, you can just use xCloud. Because you are
mm,
losing out on such a big experience there.
right.
xCloud on mobile.
I,
On
well,
mobile.
I was about to say like at some point they do plan on bringing this to PC,
Yes.
and then at that point, even if you have an old PC, an outdated PC,
It won't
I have a
matter.
hunk of junk PC.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter at that
Yeah.
point, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you would just be able to play. I think that's more so. Maybe you're probably right about the mobile aspect, but once that comes into play, it's like, do you have somewhere you can play it? Um, yeah,
I
I
reckon
do think that at some. Go ahead.
I reckon racing games is going to be the big thing, like, for me. Like, racing
Ooh,
games on phone could be cool because, again, it's one big thing that you have to focus on. But what I found while playing FIFA was I'm trying to focus on 11 men, and it's too small for me to focus on all of that. So, like, maybe even I know the latency on a fighting game would probably we don't know yet, but would probably not be the best experience for competitive. But maybe from a casual point of view, that would work. But yeah, man, it was really it was a real letdown where I'm like, I love the fact that we have remote play now. Like, that's dope. If I was grinding that stuff on like Avengers or something like that, that's perfect. Something I don't have to concentrate on. But
Yeah.
I would never want that to be my sole experience. Never.
Mm.
So
Do you think like a tablet would be big enough, or do you think that's
no,
still
I
too
think
small?
my iPad would be perfect.
Got it. Okay. So
Ah,
just like strictly like mobiles, like iPhones,
yeah.
the Samsung
Yeah, well,
phones,
I've
all
got an
that.
11. I've got an 11 screen, and that to me was too small. I
Okay,
also have terrible eyes, so that's also important out there. I forget we
that's
got
fair.
a big listener, audio listeners. They don't even know what I look like, so there you go. Moving on. This one comes from Cheesehead Troy, who says, "What is the best and worst case for Xbox this generation? Best case, they sell 100 million units, and they are back in the forefront of everyone's minds as being one of the best gaming console out there, the most powerful, having the best games, and just taking over the casual market. The worst case, they sell 50 million units like they did this year, still make a profit, still have some of the best games out there because they now own some of the best games out there. There is no
Yeah.
bad case scenario. There's no
No.
way there's a bad case scenario for Xbox or PlayStation this gen,
Yeah.
because again,
I agree.
they're already going to sell through their units.
Yeah.
Like we're not in.
I also I think you hit the nail on the head earlier with the COVID. The whole
Mhm.
situation right now is that like a lot of people, gaming is on the rise. Everything where you can stay at home, gaming and streaming are both on the
Yep.
rise. And like Microsoft, in a sense, has both of those with like streaming games as well. It's like they are going to be around. Sony as well is going to be around this generation. They're going to do numbers. They're both going to be great. Well off this generation. We're not going to see a mishap like Xbox One had in the beginning of the gen.
No.
I don't think any of the companies are going to do that. I think worst case scenario, Microsoft will be fine. Best case scenario, Microsoft will be
Fine.
way in the lead, right?
It's
Yeah,
fine.
it's fine in both cases, right? It's like
There just isn't a. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love for someone to write in my Xbox and me podcast at gmail.com, or to come on the podcast and talk about it. I just don't see where there's going to be a problem. Xbox already have a core fan base. You're listening to this show, so you must like Xbox really, or us a lot.
yeah,
Like we already know they've sold through the allocations of the first like pre-order bundles for the X. There is no the worst case scenario for Xbox this gen is the consoles actually do overheat. They have to re-bring them all in, and they cost them multi million pounds to do
yeah,
to fix all of that. It just isn't the case though. Digital Fans have already put out a video debunking all of that information. Do you know what I mean? It's all
yeah,
fanboy stuff, just pure fanboy.
yeah.
Oh, it's hot. It's like, stop it.
It's
Stop
actually
it.
kind of ridiculous how big the fanboy. I think it's because it's the start of new generation, but every time I open up my Twitter, it's just like fanboy stuff every single time, and
I
it's
hate
just it
Twitter.
gets really
I
tiring.
hate Twitter. Right now,
Yeah,
Twitter is just, oh, god awful. God
yeah.
awful. It
You
really
can't
is.
you cannot read a tweet that is like in support of either
And
console
no,
and just like,
I'm not talking just consoles. I'm just
oh,
talking
general, it's just
anything,
outside of it.
period.
Got it.
It is just a cesspool of politics or fanboy war or a bunch of racists or a bunch of homophobic people or a bunch of transphobic people. It is just everybody has a voice, and it's just like, you know what? I don't care about your voice. Leave me
Yeah.
alone. Like it's that weird thing where like I'm learning with my Twitter where I'm having to unfollow people a lot at the moment on Twitter because they keep sharing or liking the stuff that I just don't want to see. And it's a case of, I understand that that's your Twitter, you do what you want with it, right? But I'm at that point where, like, even business wise, I'm like, I just don't want to see it. And then people are like, oh, you unfollowed me on Twitter. I'm like, yeah, you like stuff or you were retweeting stuff that for my own mental sanity, I don't want to see anymore. Do you know what
Right.
I mean? Like, it's just, I'm so sick of it. I'm so over Twitter. So over it.
Yeah. No, I it's definitely been getting progressively worse and worse over time.
Yep. Yep. If you're wondering why my headphones are no longer on, my headphones died, but I've got you for another pair of headphones, but they are extremely loud for some reason because
Got it.
I'm wired into the Go XLR. So you're
Yeah.
talking, and if I put those on my head, it would blow my eardrums out. Don't worry, I can still hear you. You're fine.
Okay, perfect. I thought for a second I was just gonna have to keep going
Nah, you're
until you
good.
put on
You're
another
absolutely fine.
fan.
You're absolutely fine. I can hear you perfectly
Uh,
clear.
uh,
Next one comes from Lewis Kennelly, who says, I hope I said your name wrong. Right, I apologize if I didn't. As we are in October, what spooky games do you like to play? Bonus points if they're on Game Pass. Mine would be obviously the easier ones: Resident Evil, 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica. Those are usually my go-to Halloween games. But I'm not really someone who does the whole. I play games when I want to play games. I do what I want. I don't. I'm not, again, even with Christmas. You know, like the way people are like, oh, it's Christmas time and we're gonna watch Christmas films. I'm like, okay, sure. If you really want, like, I'll watch a film when I want to watch a film. I play a game when I want to play a game. I don't really buy into like all the holiday stuff, really, if I'm
mm.
being honest. Which is probably why I'm sucking at like streaming and stuff, because people like love themed things. But I'm just like, FIFA. They're like, but it's Halloween time. I'm like, FIFA.
We'll just start characters in black and orange for
Exactly.
FIFA.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's yeah. I don't know. What about you? Do you subscribe to like the themed holiday stuff?
No,
No.
no. I had immigrant parents, bro. They weren't really into holidays at all. Like it came around to like Halloween. It's like we don't celebrate Halloween. Christmas, we don't celebrate Christmas. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a total weird one. Uh, yeah, no, I'll leave that there. I'm not answering the second question on Twitter. Let's keep it moving. All right, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Wait a minute. Thank God. I thought we were live for a second there, Kresh. I thought I clicked the start streaming instead of start recording button, which is crazy. But no, we hadn't. It's just someone tweeted at me saying, "Oh, live talking." I was like, "Oh yeah, I am talking." Right. Oh wait, what? We've got a couple more questions, so let's go for these. This one's from Canada, right? Who says, "Do you think Apple is going to cave and allow the full xCloud experience on iOS, or do you think they will continue to make it hard for Microsoft?" Apple will not do anything they don't want to do, in my opinion,
Yep.
until they're forced to by law, which I don't think the law is on Microsoft's side in this, and Epic's side. It doesn't,
Yeah.
because I think it's going to open a whole can of worms that they don't want, which is like, okay, if we do this, then that means Apple can then put a store on your front on Xbox. And it's
Yeah.
like, do you
It,
want that? Or Epic can put a store on, and then like you don't want that on your ecosystem either. It's that weird thing where it's like, as much as it's what I want, I'd love xCloud on Apple, obviously, so I could play it and enjoy it. I understand why it's not there. I understand the premise of it. I understand the greed from Apple. I understand it. Doesn't
yeah.
mean I agree with it, but I do understand it. Which is a sucky situation. But do you think they cave? I don't think they're gonna cave, no way.
No. Apple doesn't need to cave. Like peer pressure won't get Apple to cave. People saying, like, "Oh, Apple, you guys are being greedy and sucky," isn't gonna get Apple. People have been saying that for Apple for so long, for so many. They got rid of the headphone jack. Apple, you guys suck.
Yeah.
People still bought iPhones. People don't, as much as people care about it, they are Twitter warriors in this case, or whatever platform they choose to like voice their opinions on, because they're still gonna go back to that platform. So Apple has learned that we do not need to adhere to the people. We might lose a few, but chances are we'll get a few other people with our new products or whatever it is. And we're releasing more and more products. We're releasing more headphones, more accessories, and all this stuff. We are making more and more. We don't care about that.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. It's a shame, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately. The market speaks for itself, and until it hurts their bottom line, which this thing on xCloud will not, it ain't gonna be a problem. So
Yep.
next question is also from Canada, who says, "We all know that the Series X will run cool and silent compared to the Xbox One X, based on some tests done by various outlets. What do you think the temperature will be like for the Series S?" I think it'll be exactly the same, if I'm being honest. It's a less powerful console, which means it should generate less heat. But again, is this really where we're at right now? Are we really at like the temperatures of the consoles? Like that's where the conversation is right now.
Uh, there's nothing else to really talk about until the consoles drop, right?
I
There's not
guess.
much to talk about,
Yeah.
especially on Xbox's side, because they've shown everything, right? They
Mm.
are an open book as of this point until we see games playing like next gen games playing on it. There isn't really much for us to
Which we've
talk
seen.
about.
35
Yeah.
just put out a new
Oh,
trailer the
very
other
true.
day, at
Yeah.
120 frames per second and stuff like that. It looked a lot better actually than the other footage that was out there. So, still not a next gen like, hey friends, come over my
Uh,
house, let me come and have a look at this new game. But like, you
it's
know,
the beginning of a new gen, middle ground sort of game that might have been being made for the earlier system, but
yeah.
is getting released on this new one. Yeah.
So
Um, I don't know. Like in my head, I'm thinking of the Xbox One S, and my Xbox One S is fine. It doesn't overheat. It doesn't make a lot of noise. So I'm like, the Series S will probably be fine.
yeah, my
Maybe the fact that it's so small and compact could cause a problem, but I'm sure because of how attentive Microsoft has been to airflow, especially on the Series X, they probably paid the same attention on the Series S. So
yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Well, my ex puts off a lot of heat, but
Does it?
you've got to remember, I sit in a room with 3 monitors, with an Xbox on,
Mm,
with a PC on, with a light on. So literally everything's gonna make me hot and sweat, and I'm morbidly obese and need to lose weight. Like anything, and moving 2 feet makes me hot. So yeah, like I'm glad that this one's gonna be cooler and quieter because my ex does make a lot of noise as well. But whatever, just work and don't ring red ring. That's all I care about. Don't red ring.
yeah.
Don't red ring. Last question in Fix the Sack this week is all from Alder Slayer, who says, what current gen game are you most looking forward to replaying on next gen hardware? God, we hear this one a lot, don't we, Kresh?
Yes,
This has
we
become
do.
the Desert Island. If you were trapped on a desert island, what game would
Yep.
you play? I don't care about old games.
Yep. You know, actually, I came up with a new answer to this. What current gen game am I most looking? Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
No, but this is current gen replaying on next gen.
Oh, replaying. I missed that word. This one's different. This one's a little different, but I missed that word. I don't care, dude. I'm with you. I really like. I'm sure I'll replay some game at some point on this, and I'll be like,
Wow.
oh, it runs a little bit better. It
Yeah.
looks a little bit better. Cool. I'll shut down the game and I'll never play it again.
Yeah, it's just I don't buy $500 consoles to play old games. I understand that it does better for old games, but I also need to remember and need to check my privilege at the door that I get sent a lot of games, so I play most games. Most games
Right.
that come out, and I stream as well. So the things that gamers don't have, which is money and time. I
Yeah.
don't pay for a lot of my games due to streaming them and reviewing them for my channel and stuff like that. So that's one thing out of the way. And I stream for a living, so I play games for 8 hours a day anyway. So I have the time as well. So I don't miss out. There's no experience I feel like this generation that I've missed out on that I wanted to have.
No. No.
Maybe Control. Maybe that would be the only game that I'm most looking forward to going back and playing, but not because of the new gen, just because I missed Control. I didn't get to play it. But everything I've
And
seen of that
Alan
game
Wake.
doesn't interest me either. So, what was that? Sorry,
Yeah.
Alan Wake?
And Alan Wake.
Well, of course, Alan Wake. So that
Yeah.
goes without saying, Chris. Come on, you know that. But yeah, I would love to know what the audience thinks. Like, are you buying
Yeah.
this new console to play old games?
Yeah. But I could see it for some people where it's like, we're not buying it to play old games. But the fact is, there's not going to be a lot of new games that we want to play in the beginning.
There is
And
for
because
me though.
for you, yeah, I'm not talking about me and you, Fix.
Oh.
I'm talking about other people. I'm just trying to like
Yeah.
play devil's advocate for them. Where it's coming out, they don't really care about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They don't care about
Cyberpunk.
Dirt 5, Cyberpunk. They don't care about all. Cyberpunk comes out the 18th. Yeah, okay, Cyberpunk. They don't care about that. They don't care about anything that comes out
8
that first
days.
year.
What are we
Yeah,
talking here?
okay. 8 days of having a new console, nothing to play on it, Fix.
Okay, I guess,
No,
yeah.
So let's say the first year they don't care about any games coming out, and what they want to play is Fallout 4 high graphics or something. I don't know, man. There's something they want to play.
Yeah, I guess if it's because, again, and the same thing again, check my privilege at the door. I've got a PC as well, so if I really cared about
You
like
could already do it.
frame rates and things like that, I just go and buy it on PC.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not sitting here acting like I'm all high and mighty. I understand the privileged position that I'm in. So, and that you guys, listeners, viewers, Patreon supporters, put me in. Like, I'm not sitting here acting all high and mighty. But yeah, I don't subscribe to buying new consoles for old games. Like, no, doesn't interest me in the slightest. Speaking of next gen games, Kresh, NBA 2K21. Sorry, this week's dashboard. NBA 2K21 adds unskippable ads into its load screens. This one was taken from IGN and written by Jordan Oluman. I think I'm right. Advertisements have quietly been added to 2K21's load screens, which players are unable to skip. Steve Vero is reporting that ads for the Oculus Quest 2 have appeared during the pre-game load screen in the NBA 2K21 videos, showing that the load screens are longer than the advertisements themselves on the PS4 and Xbox One, with no options to skip the adverts given until they have finished being shown. Kresh, how does this make you feel?
This is dumb. This is very dumb. Didn't we just like cover a story about this with
UFC
Madden or something?
EA had it with
Oh
UFC.
yeah, UFC. Yeah, it's like why, and why? Like, okay, maybe you want to add the ad or whatever. Just make it skippable. Like, if you really want to add the ad in there, whatever, just make it skippable. Or
What?
at least like one of the functions that you can normally do like is completely blocked off. You can't do that either. It's like this is such a punch in the gut for the people who bought the game to support you and whatever. And it's like, why?
Just to add, the advertisements have been confirmed on current gen consoles, but it remains to whether to be seen if they'll be on next gen also. I think the problem we have with this is a number of things. Number one, NBA 2K21 is an okay basketball game at best.
Okay.
Because it doesn't take the game series to the next level in any way, shape, or form, which doesn't make it a bad game. It's still the best basketball game out there on the market, but it doesn't take it to the next level, right? Yeah. Then you have the 4 editions, which is like the Mamba edition, which does include next gen and blah, 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 which people see as nickel and diamond. I don't know if I think I was of that, and then I saw, have you seen the trailer for it? For next gen NBA? It looks ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay. Like, Zion, you know who Zion Williams is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he's got stretch marks on his arm, but in the current gen version, just looks like this nothing. Like, it's there, you can sort of see it. In this, you can see the deep stretch marks in game this as well. Like, you can see the level of detail that's been added to this next gen series. Do I know if that's worth the extra money? Not yet, but I'll be able to tell you soon enough. So you've got that on top of it. So it's like already nickel and dime. Then this comes out, and you're like, what do they expect to happen? These game companies, like, I don't know who's making this decision. I don't know who's running. I don't see there being any game developer in the world running to the higher ups at 2K going, I know what we should do, Mr. Bossman, who I want to raise from. We should add ads into our load screens. Remember, load screens are not going to be there next gen, really, because it's going to go so fast. So we need to nickel and dime them now. And what can we sell ads on? Oh, that Facebook, that company, they like to sell ads. They like to put money into things. The Quest 2, perfect. Let's advertise that. Like, is there nobody in the chain of command going, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
It's probably the people in the chain of command that are like, yeah, I really like this idea, as it goes down to somebody eventually saying like, this is a bad idea, and they're like, shut up, we pay you. Can you please just put this in? It's
certainly how it feels, my dude. If we're being totally honest, it seems bonehead, it seems stupid, it seems greedy, it seems all of the things that you don't want associated with your company in 2020. Greed, dumb. It seems like this is it.
Yeah, we like, and the thing is, like, we literally had a discussion about this recently.
Yep.
It's not even us. The industry as a whole had a discussion about this, about how egregious it is, and it's dumb and stupid, and it's here we go again. And I assume since we saw it again, we'll see it again and again, and companies like people will be like, no, we don't like this, and then companies will figure out, okay, we're not going to do it right there, but we'll find a different spot we can do it.
Yep.
What I'm worried about is if next gen comes out and this is still a next gen, what if they artificially lower down load times, where it's like the game's loaded, but we're just not going to put you in until you get at least like 10 seconds of the screen or whatever, however long it is. It's like, why? I don't know. I think this just creates bad will with the people who are supporting your game, and at some point there will be people who drop off. But you have to remember, these games also have microtransactions, and they're probably like, we still get a ton of money off of that on top of whatever ad revenue we can lose a few couple of
I
people. We'll
think
be
this is
fine.
what bugs me even more, though, if I'm being totally honest with you, which is like, it's not, I won't say, in my opinion, I don't think NBA 2K's microtransactions are super egregious, any more so than they have been in the last, I've been playing since 2014, so since 2014. Like, it doesn't seem any more so than
Right.
it ever has. Little bit like, because I play FIFA as well, so it's the same sort of thing, right? But you can't have that much greed and then throw ads on it on top. I haven't played in a little while, so I actually haven't seen the ads, so I don't know how bad it actually is. Usually what they would do, if you didn't skip certain things, they'd pay you out currency for it, which I
Mm,
was always of the mind of like, okay, at least you are kind of rewarding me for having to deal with this. It was never a good payout, by the way, but it was still something. But
right.
we're getting to that point now, and I'm becoming more wiser now, where I'm like, you're just taking the pee out of me.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah, because I mean,
I can't sit here and say I paid $90 for the game because I didn't. It was sent to me by 2K, so thank you for that. But it isn't right. It really isn't right, in my opinion.
no. Like, I really hope they get rid of this. I would hope that all developers just like immediately like, we're not going to do this. But at the end of the day, there is some higher up who thinks he can game the system, who thinks like, I know what's best and I know how to make us a lot of money, and they'll do this. And maybe even the worth, even if they were like, we'll get rid of it in a week, the amount they make in a week might be worth it to them to like create that bad will or whatever it is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying excuses what they do.
No.
It's dumb and stupid.
Yep. Totally agree. Next up, Rainbow Six Siege is coming to Xbox Game. Well, they've been teasing it. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass. We don't have a date on it yet, I don't believe, unless it's come out since. Let me quickly check.
I think I saw that it was the end of the month, but I don't know if that was just people saying it
I
or
know
it
it got
was
it got
officially
teased in
announced.
a funny way on Twitter, which again they're doing
I
a
saw
great job on Twitter.
I I
There you
think I
go.
saw Xbox UK confirm it earlier.
October
Xbox Game
22nd.
Pass UK.
October
October 22nd. There
22nd,
we go.
we join in Xbox Game Pass, and it will be playable on Android devices via Cloud Gaming as well. So we'll be going straight into xCloud. So congratulations to
Yep.
Ubisoft. Did you see the dumb rumors going around that Xbox bought Ubisoft?
Dude, yeah, no, it's no. I don't believe them. Like, if you saw the where the rumor started from,
Yeah.
it was literally somebody who said, doesn't have a history on Reddit or anything like that, hasn't leaked anything, who was like, a source I know said that Ubisoft is going to be making Microsoft bought Ubisoft and da da da, and you might not believe it, but it's going to happen, just believe me. And it's like, no.
Don't
I
you
don't
love
believe you.
don't you love just the don't
Even
believe me?
even if it's true, I'm going to tell you right now, that guy had no clue what he was talking about. Even if it ends up being true, I give him no credit for this.
Fair enough, fair enough. Next up, Xbox Game Pass gets free classic adventure games coming in. Xbox Game Pass is adding a trio of classic LucasArts adventure games: Grim Fandango Remastered, Day of the Tentacle Remastered, and Full Throttle Remastered. All of these games will be added to Xbox Game Pass on PC and console, and will be available via xCloud as well from October 29th. Usually I put these at the end, Kresh, but I decided to add this as a news story because obviously we know that LucasArts is all licensing. It's a licensing thing. So a lot of people assume this just would never happen. And it's dope to see that Microsoft obviously were able to get it done. This is obviously... I'm forgetting the name. Double Fine's games. So to see them be able to get all of those classic games out. I remember when these came out on PlayStation 4 and they didn't come to Xbox. And people were like, what? Why not? I've never been an adventure game fan. Not the
Yeah.
turn this doorknob to click this thing, to click that, to walk this way 4 steps, and then you're through the door. Like, no, I'm not about that life at all. But more power to you if you are, and now you have a great place to play them, which is through Game Pass. So,
Yep.
you're not an adventure game fan, I assume.
No. I think I might have played one when I was like younger, but
Yeah.
I have
You
no
probably
clue.
did. You ever play Broken Age? That was like the one, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe I honestly I couldn't tell. I know I've played games of that like variety, but I can't tell you if I've played it.
Fair
So
enough. Fair
yeah.
enough. Let's talk a little Avengers, Kresh, which is Marvel Avengers was the top selling game in September 2020. Which to me as well, but the list goes like this. Marvel's Avengers, Super Mario 3D, All Stars, Madden 21. I thought I told you not to buy Madden.
You did. You did. I'm ashamed of all of you guys who bought it.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered, NBA 2K21, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Crusader King 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Star Wars Squadron at number 9, and Mario Kart 8 at number 10. Other notable games on the Xbox system, I guess you'd say, would be Crash Bandicoot at number 11, UFC at number 15, and the rest of it's at number 19, Mortal Kombat. The rest of it's dominated by PlayStation titles and Nintendo titles specific.
Yeah.
This doesn't include digital sales, by the way. This is strictly physical media. There
We
you
know
have
if
it.
digital sales were there, Grand Theft Auto would be up there, right?
Yes, you would have thought so.
Yeah.
You would have thought so. You would have thought it would make the top 20, definitely, right?
For sure.
Just
Yeah.
because of the shark card stuff.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think it would have though. Because when we were doing this like every week, Grand Theft Auto was always up there, right?
Yeah, I stopped doing it every week just because it become the same list every week. After a while, I was
Yeah.
like, this is pointless.
It's like a new game comes out, it gets added, and then
Yeah.
the next week it's like, oh, it's back to how it used to be with like something changing a spot.
You can always tell what type of news week we're having on this show because if there's 2 top 10 lists, slow news week, which is like,
Yeah.
oh, this is MPD and this is a different one. You know that is when it's a slow news week for my Xbox and me,
Yeah.
all right? You know. Next one is all about the Avengers delay, Kresh. The DLC has been delayed. This one was taken by Matt Purslow over at IGN, who says Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have delayed the next major update for Marvel's Avengers, pushing the next-gen versions into next year and delaying the addition of the game's first DLC character, Kate Bishop. In a blog post, Avengers Crystal Dynamics studio head Scott Amos apologized for the slight delay to the Kate Bishop DLC, but explained that it is due to ensuring new content is given the time for the extensive internal testing. Quote, with this in mind, we've decided to push Kate Bishop operations launch back a bit, out of October, said Amos, but no new date was given for the first new character. Before we go on, Kresh, this game is in trouble, right?
Yeah. They just keep pushing back content that the game needs. Because all the stuff that they have that is endgame isn't unique to endgame, which makes it hard to sell people on this is endgame. It just feels like it's a repurposed content that we've played through the whole time. I don't know if you played the one where it's like, oh, a character dies and then you have to switch to another character
I
in the
haven't
roster.
even bothered, honestly.
So that mode in concept is actually really interesting, but the problem is when you load into it with your full squad of like 3 AI companions,
Yeah.
and if you get down, they can just revive you.
Oh, okay.
So you never really feel that sense of challenge because it's just
Oh.
super easy, which is a big problem.
Interesting. As a thank you, Crystal Dynamics is giving all players 1,500 credits, 7,000 units, 250 upgrade modules, 20 DNA keys, and a Sarah Glazen inspired nameplate. Those rules will be added to your account if you log in between October 22nd and November 5th. Obviously, there's a bunch of new content well, there's not a bunch. There's some new content that's getting added to the game.
Yeah.
I don't think any of it is interesting in the slightest.
Yeah.
Go on, you're invested. It's weird because we're both invested in this game, but then we both don't care about this game in the same way as well. Where like, I'm at that point with this game where I've put enough hours in, and I've got Iron Man at 130, 120, 130. I've got like Widow at 140. I'm just like, why am I gonna grind these characters to 150? Why? Why am I bothering?
Yeah. Yeah. They did a thing where they made it so you can get guaranteed epic gear from one of the weekly events that's only available during the weekend, which is such a dumb
I
idea.
hate that. I hate
Make
that.
it do it throughout the whole week whenever you have time through the week to get a chance to sit down and do this. Let people do it then. Like time gating things like this is so dumb. Time gating rewards where it's like if you complete it that first weekend, we'll give you an
I
extra
hate it.
whatever. That would be whatever. I don't care about that. But the fact that the event is only available during that is dumb. And then it's
Mhm.
like, oh, you the first time you complete it, you get an epic gear. And as far as I'm aware, that meaning in this game means that the first time you complete it, doesn't matter with what character, could be all the whatever character you use the first time. So if I complete it with Captain America, I can't then run it on my Thor and get a piece of gear for my Thor. So you are extending the time it takes for me to gear my characters, and you have to remember this is a game about roles and I want the right item, so I might have to keep replaying even after I get all epic gear and all the slots because it's not the item I want. You are artificially extending the time I have to play this game for no reason. You're making it more likely people are going to burn out because in that mode, you're like, okay, after you complete it the first time, if you keep replaying this event, you are upping the chance, you have a higher chance of getting an epic item than normal.
Yeah.
It's just like, give me a guaranteed epic item every first time I run it with a character and let me do it throughout the week. That means
They've
throughout the week, I have the opportunity to at least run it 6 times with 6 different characters and I'm guaranteed a good reward and I don't have to run it more than that.
Yep.
And if I want to run it less than that, I can.
I'm
It's
100% right, dude. 100% right. It's extremely frustrating for someone like me. I don't get to play on the weekends. Like I
Yeah.
only get to. I know I'm like the reverse of most people, but the weekends are the days I don't play video games really, unless it's us Sunday playing Among Us. That's about it. Like I just usually
Yeah.
don't have time because I'm doing other things other than gaming. It's like just give me the chance to do this stuff and not be forced to come on the weekend, man. Really annoying.
Yep.
Next
I
one
agree.
is the launch lineup of which has been announced by Microsoft for the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. So we'll start at the top here, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla with smart delivery, Borderlands 3 with smart delivery, Bright Memory 1.0, Cruise and Royal with smart delivery, Dead by Daylight, part of Game Pass and smart delivery, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Dirt 5 with smart delivery, Enlist, Evergate, The Falconeer with smart delivery, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 4 Game Pass plus smart delivery, Gears 5 Xbox Game Pass plus smart delivery, Gears Tactics Xbox Game Pass plus smart delivery, Grounded Xbox Game Pass plus smart delivery, King Oddball Man-Eater smart delivery, Manifold Garden smart delivery, NBA 2K21, Observer System Redux, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, part of Xbox Game Pass plus smart delivery, Planet Coaster with smart delivery, Sea of Thieves, Xbox Game Pass plus smart delivery, Tetris Effect Connected, which is on Game Pass and smart delivery, The Tourists, I said that right. Xbox Game Pass plus smart delivery, War Thunder smart delivery, Warhammer Chaos Spain Slayer Edition, Watch Dogs Legions, which is part of smart delivery, WRC 9 FE World Rally Championship smart delivery, Yakuza Like a Dragon, sorry, part of smart delivery, and Yes, Your Grace, part of smart delivery. So, what do you think of that lineup, Fresh, for this brand new console that is out in less than a month now? Where are you? Is anything on that list go, okay, I'm buying that game. That's the one I want. That's what's going to show off my next gen console.
No, not for me.
Yeah.
Like none of these games are super like I'm looking forward to like Assassin's Creed.
Bright
I want
Memory.
to play Bright Memory.
Bright Memory for me is definitely on the list of like, yes, I need that game. Day one.
But
See
that's not the new one.
what?
That's the first one. So that's not the one that they showed off during the first Game Pass. That's the one that's on PC right now.
No, that's the one. This is the one.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that this is the first one that's on PC right now.
So, but what's the new one called then?
Bright Memory Infinite.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
Huh.
I'm still excited for this because this looked like a good game, but it's
Yeah.
not It's not the one you're thinking of.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Huh. Well, they almost had me.
they almost had you.
They almost had me. They almost had me. Yeah, it just seems it's a obviously Valhalla. Excited for Gears Tactics. If you've not played it on PC, great game for people to play day one on their new console.
Um,
Watch Dogs Legions.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Wasn't Flight Sim supposed to be or is that coming out
I
later
think it's
this year?
coming. I don't think it's day one. Oh, well, it's
Got it.
not day one.
Okay.
This is the list.
Because the
So
Flight Sim probably would have been one for me if that was there.
got ya.
Um, yeah, and then there's like a
Yakuza.
whole bunch of games that I've played before.
Yeah,
Yakuza Like a Dragon
I'm looking forward to that.
for you, yeah. Um, other than that, it's like not really, but you can tell like Halo was supposed to be here, right? It's this thing that you keep coming back is like there seems to be a void for Xbox, and it's because they delayed Halo, which is fine. I'd rather it get delayed and it come out in the best shape possible. But it's very apparent that like Halo was supposed to be here.
Yeah, you're 100% right, dude. You're 100% right. It makes me sad. It makes me really sad. But would rather no game than a bad game.
Very true.
So that is that. Last but not least, Microsoft now has what's it called? Bloody hell. Remote play on iPhone and iPad. Do you not find it super weird that they'll allow remote play but not xCloud? It's literally because
No.
have you seen xCloud?
Or
Have you
like
seen it
the
running? Have you seen it running? Like have you?
yeah, I've seen it running.
It's literally the same thing for remote play. Where like the app is literally the same thing.
Yeah, but also no at the same time because a lot of stuff you can use remote play with a lot of stuff on your phone.
Yeah,
Like this isn't unique to this exact service. And with Apple, I'm sure the way they look at xCloud is like, hey, we have our own Apple thing where you can subscribe to a monthly thing and you could play all these games. It's like that's more of a competition to them than remote play. Remote play is like an additional feature that they're like, whatever, we don't care about you. You can do whatever you want with that. Because there's also not money being exchanged with remote play. There's
yeah,
no possible money for them to really get out of remote play as opposed to Game Pass, where it's like, hey, if you like set it through the board and all this stuff and they want to play it, they have to buy it through our store. And then all this, that, and the third,
yeah.
then Apple starts getting a cut of that check, and that's what Apple wants. Apple wants some of the money. There's no money to really be had by them from remote play.
True, true. Games with gold this month. You have Slay Away Camp, Butcher's Cut, available October 1st to October 31st. You have Mad Skier, available October Made of Skier, available October 16th to November 15th. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, available October 1st to October 15th. And Costume Quest, October 16th to October 31st. Go get your games with gold. Go do it, go do it, go do it, go do it, go do it. Let's plug, and get ourselves out of here, Kresh. What have you got to plug this week, my friend?
The My Xbox and Me website. Go check it out. I don't know the last time we plugged the My Xbox and Me website. There's a website. Nanobiologist has been putting up reviews there. Article for the Rainbow Six Siege where it goes into more detail is up on there.
Yep.
Go check it out if you haven't. YouTube page we mentioned earlier, but go like, subscribe, leave a review on iTunes for the podcast.
Cool.
Hmm.
Mine's Patreon this week. You are getting a sweet piece of Patreon content. Let me tell you, if you want to watch the best, worst vlog of your life, do you see me? Yes. Do you see me in a mask? Yes. Do you see me sing? Yes. Do you see me eat? Yes. There's a lot. And Haley's also there too. No?
Who cares about that one, right?
Good
It's
point.
that you're there, fix.
Good point. Good point. Good point. You're right. You're right. But yeah, definitely go check it out. I'd appreciate it. We worked hard on the content, so please, 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 please do. And you know what? That's a lie. That's a lie. I just lied to you all. I didn't work hard on that content. I didn't. I didn't work hard on that content. I didn't. It was the best, worst content ever. That's all I'm saying. Go check out the PJ Tour series. That just came back out. And it's got this week's probably the best editing on the episode, in my opinion. So be quiet, Siri. Yeah, go check that out. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, until next time, I've been MC Fixer. He's been Kresh, and I will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbye.
Bye.